It's been a long summer, but Sports Central is finally back in full swing to bring you all your CMU and local high school coverage. And welcome back to another season of Sports Central. I'm Cam Goodekunst. CMU Golf turned some heads at the MAC Fall Preview in Noblesville, Indiana, placing third in the team competition behind Xavier and Toledo. The team's score of 901 is a program record. Central also posted the lowest score of the third round with a 307. Standout Bria Kolaski shot a 71 on the third and final day to finish 1 under par with a score of 215, placing second overall at that score. Kolaski's 215 is another 54-hole program record. Her second place finish is the best placing by a Chippewa since the program's resurrection in the 2014-15 year. Other contributors included Danielle Sawyer, who shot 227 to tie for 15th, and Jamie Laud, who shot a 228 and tied for 19th place. This historic result should give the team confidence heading into their final competition of the fall, which is the Charles Braun Jr. Intercollegiate in Evanston, Illinois on October 22nd through the 23rd. The CMU field hockey team is nearing the end of their 2018 campaign under first-year head coach Catherine Ostowich, who took over a program that went 3-50 into 3 seasons prior to her arrival. The Chippewas got off to a 500 start in the year with a split of 2 games in the Colgate Classic, where they fell to the hosting Colgate Raiders in overtime 1-0 before returning the favor to the St. Louis Billikens with a 1-0 victory of their own. The Chippewas are now 1-12 on the season, but the scoring has improved and the defense has posted similar stats against a tougher non-conference slate, which included the likes of Stanford, Michigan, and Michigan State. The field hockey team has 3 straight road trips, which get started in Kent, Ohio against the Golden Flashes. The team will wrap up their season, conference, and home play October 19th when Ball State comes into town. The Central Michigan football team was handed their 6th loss of the season on October 13th, falling just short to Ball State Cardinals 24-23. The Chippewas took the lead in the halftime with a score of 20-7, but they couldn't find the end zone in the second half. CMU quarterback Tommy Lazzaro led the Chippewas with 127 passing yards and 1 touchdown pass. Romello Ross rushed for 111 yards, and Mike Dana got 9 tackles, 1 sack, and a fumble recovery. The Chippewas hope to turn things around with games up next against rival Western Michigan and at Akron. It really is crazy how quick the college football season goes by. It seems like we just got started a week or 2 ago, and now we're already halfway through the regular season. Luckily here, though, on Sports Central, we can talk about as much football as we want, and we're going to be joined here by our head analyst, Joe Pallas. Joe, welcome on to the show. It's great to have you here. Let's just dive right into it. CMU starts this season off at 1-4 through their first 5 games. That's the worst start for head coach John Bonamigo through his 4-year tenure. What sticks out to you from these first 5 games? And if you're a Chippewa fan at home, do you think it's time to hit the panic button just yet on this season? Yeah, Joe, I have to really agree with you here. It is time to be at least a little bit panicked so far, but it's far from over. You've only played 1 of your 8 slated conference games on the year, and you took a tough loss to NIU. Looking at that, that was the debut for Tommy Lazzaro. He came in mid-third quarter. The Chippewas trail 21-3 when he comes in, and 2 straight touchdown drives. He leads the Chippewas down to a quick 3-and-out after a couple sacks, and then he got them all the way down in the red zone, and then there was that last-second interception that really sealed the deal for the Huskies. But you talked about it just a little bit. I mean, Lazzaro, a guy he's been with the Chippewas for a couple years after he came over from Dodge City Community College, but he hasn't had a snap for CMU since over 2 years ago from that NIU game when he played UNLV back when he first got here from Dodge City. And then looking at Tony Poljan as well, a guy who was just here last year, and he played in 12 games for the Chippewas, but he only had 17 passes. He actually had more carries with 23 for the Chippewas and played a lot of receiver as well. So a guy who didn't have a lot of time under center to really be that experienced field general. But really, when you talk about experience, I think that's what really sticks out with this Chippewas team. And Joe, I mean, just your opinion, how do you think some of these young guys have really played into where the Chippewas stand 5 games into the season? I couldn't agree more with you, Joe. Just so many holes to fill on this team and so many guys being asked to step up at once. It's an extremely tough task for this team. But like you said, a conference title is still there for the taking if they can turn the ship while they still have 7 games ahead of them. But that's all the time we had for Chippewa football this week. Thanks for joining me and chatting with me, Joe. Welcome back to Sports Central. We're joined at the desk by the Director of Broadcasting for the Chippewa Club Hockey Network, Jared Nyland. Jared, thanks for joining us.
Oh, great to be here.
So let's break right into it here. Last year, Central Michigan made it all the way to the semifinals for the Division III ACHA playoffs. How do you think they're looking this year? Do you think it's going to be a situation where they could step forward and get that championship, or it's going to be a bit of a rebuild for this year's club?
Who do you guys think is going to step up in the 2018 season to lead CMU?
So first off, for me, for leaders for next year, there's one huge name when I look at the stat sheet, and that's Jonathan Ward, our running back. And he had just under 1,500 yards last year and 13 touchdowns between receiving and rushing. And the man was just a workhorse for us. So I definitely think he's going to pick up the slack, especially in a spread offense. And I think he's going to be a dominant player and a leader for this Chippewa team.